भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We'll study the portion, the negative trait.
The negative trait. This trait in the human species expresses as two insatiable motivations, that is, to acquire and to enjoy. Every human being is driven through his lifetime by these two selfish motivations. For example, one acquires a house and enjoys living in it. Another acquires a tennis court and enjoys playing in it. The list is endless, and the thirst is insatiable. The more you acquire, the more you want to acquire. And the more you enjoy, the more you want to enjoy. When is enough? Enough. Bereft of intellectual governance, the mind pursues these motivations on and on. And the desires for acquisition and enjoyment linger, causing mental agitation, stress all through life. The solution to this problem is to give a lift to your personality by strengthening the intellect. Let the intellect monitor the mind's incessant craving. There is no objection to acquisition, but let not your present happiness be dependent on future acquisition. Learn to be content with what you have. You may then acquire more as per your competence and capacity. Similarly, there is no objection to enjoyment. Only ensure your intellect checks your sensual enjoyment to avoid saturation. Through careful regulation and moderation by the intellect, you may continue enjoying the senses. Again, the feelings and emotions of the mind could develop a momentum and blow the cap of the intellect completely. Act very like the heat generated within a mountain which forms the lava and blows its peak off. Thereafter, hell is let loose. The burning lava surges forth, destroying everything around, finally forming ugly crusts on beautiful earth. Just so, the heat of passions gushing out blows the cap of intellect and destroys peace and harmony, forms revulsive attachment and possessiveness, ruining the magnificence of human life. This was the state of your predecessors. This is the state of the present generation around the world. And you tow along with them, following a herd instinct. Instead, study the present predicament that the world faces. Do not allow your emotions form the crust of deadly attachment and possessiveness. Keep building your intellect to gain a perfect hold on your mind's activities. Fundamentally, you cannot find peace and happiness unless you renounce the self-asserting ego and egocentric desires. Unless you drop the idea of I and my, me and mine, Edward Carpenter, an Englishman of spiritual experience, asserts, "Never before could I have believed it, but I see it all now. There is no happiness unless you have clean dropped thinking about yourself, but you must not do it by halves. While even there is a least grain of self left, it will spoil it all. You must just leave it all behind and vouchsafe the personality and mind that much sympathy as to any stranger, no more, no less. Hence must you set aside your corroding ego and banish your egocentric attachments and desires. Do not let the mass of selfishness around and about you influence your personality. Get off the deadly hook of selfishness and learn to serve, sacrifice for the community at large. You would need to develop a strong intellect to combat and destroy the ego and its devastating tentacles.
Yeah. The negative trait of acquisition and enjoyment. All human beings have this two motivations, acquisition and enjoyment. And it is called negative because these two motivations misleads you into believing these two are your priorities. It is negative. First is all human beings have these two priorities. Acquisition and enjoyment is common to all species, all human beings. Why it is called as negative? It is called negative because these two misleads you into a belief that these two becomes your priority in life. Having made these two as a priority, the human being goes through the entire life keeping this as a priority. Priority means you have no time for anything else. That's why it's called a priority. Priority means you will wish to dedicate all your time and effort towards this. And no time and effort will be dedicated towards something else. That's the very meaning of the word priority. Again, the very meaning of the word priority is what? All your efforts and actions and everything will be dedicated towards this, and you will be uninterested in, you will not be interested in anything else. Negative because it is insatiable. First reason, negative means it misleads you into believing that these are your priorities. Second reason that it is negative is because it is insatiable. So you have something as a priority which can never be satiated. Insatiable means not achievable. Again, I repeat. Insatiable means non-achievable. Non-achievable means how much ever you have, you feel it's not enough. Therefore, he says, when is enough? Enough. So the more you acquire, that much more you want to acquire. Therefore, the second reason that it is negative, first is misleads you into believing that it's your priority. Second reason is it is insatiable. Insatiable means how much ever you have, that much more you will want to have. Therefore, the question, when is enough? Enough. That point never comes at all. That point never comes. Why? Because it has an inherent fallacy of insatiable nature. It is insatiable. Okay. What are the two now? Acquisition and enjoyment. Acquisition for enjoyment. So even though it looks like acquisition and enjoyment, it is acquisition for enjoyment. Very able to follow me. It's not that you acquire and keep it, but there is no joy out of it. Will you be interested in that? No. So acquisition for what? Acquisition so that you can enjoy. Acquisition so that you will feel secure having it. Not having it is insecure. Having it is security. So acquisition is for what? Acquisition is for happiness. Acquisition is for security. It is negative because the peace and security is the inner state of mind that can be gotten only through the spiritual practices. The peace and security is the inner state of mind, and it has got nothing to do with what you have or what you don't have. How do you understand that? The rich people are not uniformly, consistently happy. The poor people are not uniformly, consistently unhappy. Again, follow the logic. Are you able to follow? The rich people are not uniformly, consistently happy. The poor is not uniformly, consistently unhappy. It means what? It means this peace and security, etc., has got nothing to do with what you have or what you don't have. This is the understanding. In Bhajagovindam, what he calls as Kanchana and Kamini. Kanchana is acquisition, Kamini is enjoyment. Now, what is this acquisition? Acquisition is always driven by a thirst. He calls it as Trishna. Muda jahihi dhanagama Trishna kurusad buddhim manasi vitrishna. Yellabase nija karmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Bhagavad Gita. Correct? Correct. Bhajagovindam, isn't it? Bhajagovindam. Verse number 2. Muda jahihi dhanagama Trishna kurusad buddhim manasi vitrishna. Yellabase nija karmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. So he is using the word Trishna. Trishna means craving, insatiable craving. What is this insatiable craving? wealth per se, money per se, cash per se is not it. As long as it can be converted into food, building, vehicle, travel, etc. Are you able to follow? When you are asking for wealth, what are you asking for? When you have Trishna for wealth, what is the actual Trishna for? When you have Trishna for wealth, what is the actual Trishna for? Because that wealth can be converted into food. Wealth can be converted into the house, the car, the transport, whatever be it. So, craving for wealth means craving for what the wealth can provide. So, craving for wealth means what wealth can provide. So, you are not craving for wealth, you are craving for that which wealth can provide. What wealth can provide? Materialistic objects. Carefully follow. Wealth can provide materialistic objects. It's the state of mind that converts it into comfort or happiness. And cause and effect relationship order the delusion. Wealth can give materialistic objects or comforts. Wealth can give materialistic objects or materialistic comforts. Wealth can give materialistic objects. It's your state of mind that decides whether it is a comfort or a pain. Are you able to follow? Because at some point of time it is comfort, at another point in time it is pain. Bigger house is a joy and comfort in one point of time. Especially bigger house. Very small house, sir. How small is the house? Just 2,800 square feet. You can't even have one room in that house. What, in 2,800 square feet? Not now. She thought like that 30 years back. Now she's saying 800 square feet is enough. Now she will say, sometime later, 6 feet is enough, sir. Another point of time, not even 6 feet, because it will be turned and burnt into ashes. And you don't need anything at all. So, is big house a comfort or not? It's a state of mind. Are you able to follow? So, wealth can give you acquisition, means acquisition of material objects. Comforts is entirely dependent on your state of mind. Are you okay till now? It has got nothing to do with the presence of the object. If presence of the object can give you comfort, we all should be very comfortable now. If the presence of the object can give us comfort, we all should feel very, very comfortable, isn't it? But there is no comfort. Acquisition is a weird state of existence. This thirst, this Trishna is a weird state of existence. What is a weird state of existence? Money and wealth and everything should keep coming in and in and in. Nothing should go out. That's Trishna. Are you able to follow? It should just keep one-way traffic. One-way traffic na eppadi irukano? Only revenue, no opposite of revenue, expenditure, isn't it? Every year the summer in Chennai is getting very, 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 very hot. So, at least an average house will need Srikanth. An average house will need at least our air conditioner. Isn't it? At least minimum 6 air conditioners is needed, sir. I said, oh, but where will you have 6 air conditioners? Living room ரெண்டு வேணும், dining ஒன்று வேணும், இருக்கிற ரூமுகள்லாம் ஒன்று வேணும். Correct. How nice it will be. But electricity bill should not come. Isn't it? அதுதான் acquisition. Are you able to follow? 24/7 air conditioner should run, but electricity bill should not come. The madness of Trishna. That is why how much ever you have, you always feel it's not. Why? Because the mind says it should be only coming. Nothing should go out. It's like taxes. Taxes are seen as punishment, no, isn't it? If you are wise and if you can earn a lot, you are punished. If you are dumb and if you don't know how to earn, government will give everything free. Correct? Srikanth. If you are wise and brilliant and earn a lot, you will be punished. That's where in taxes. If you are really dumb and you don't do anything at all, government will give everything free. Yeah? Right or wrong? Isn't it? And yet I will want to be rich and want everything for free. Yeah, that's the. I want to be rich. At the same time, I want even the minimum thing that goes out, we will be seen as a punishment. Why? Because acquisition means it should just keep adding and adding and adding. It should never diminish. This is the very wrong Trishna behind acquisition. Are you able to follow till now? The rich person feels insecure because somebody will come and take away the wealth, isn't it? You earn. Swami says, who will come and take away your wealth finally? Son-in-law will come and take away all your wealth and go away. Whatever son-in-law leaves behind, a Swamiji will come and take his, isn't it? So you earn. First fellow that will make you go bankrupt is your son-in-law. Second fellow that will make you go bankrupt is குளத்தூர். யாரு? நீங்க சார்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது. You follow? The whole notion is it provides objects, but it has got nothing to do with comfort. The presence of the object is not comforts. Availability of objects in abundance doesn't mean you will have a lot of comforts. Are you able to follow? The misunderstanding is more objects means more comforts. Conversely, what do you see? Why it is called as moha, delusion, is because you are bringing in a cause and effect relationship. That is moha. You are bringing in a cause and effect relationship. What is a cause and effect relationship you are bringing? Material objects will give you peace and security. Material objects will bring you peace and security. Material objects are needed, or for life it's needed. Peace and security is not dependent on that. There is a difference between the two. Taittiriya Upanishad has a beautiful description. Taittiriya Upanishad says there is this Avahanti Homa. There are various rituals they keep prescribing. This is one such ritual. there they pray for wealth. So first prayer, so the first ahuti is for asking for, the first prayer is for asking for unlimited wealth. The first ahuti will be for unlimited wealth. This comes in the Upanishad. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it comes. The second ahuti tells you why you want unlimited wealth. The first ahuti says, I want unlimited wealth. The second ahuti says, why I want unlimited wealth? What is the reason that the Upanishad gives? The second reason is to give. You have so that you can give. You can give. You can give. Therefore, wealth is not to buy material objects for your comforts. Wealth is to share, to give. Remember that life is to give, not to take. Life is to give, not to take. In the story, the Les Miserables, the priest teaches the convict. Life is to give, not to take. Instead of Trishna, develop Vitrishna, he says. Instead of Trishna, develop Vitrishna. Vitrishna is opposite of Trishna. Okay, Trishna is greed. Vitrishna is opposite of greed. What is opposite of greed? What is opposite of greed? Anybody? Contentment. Opposite of greed is contentment. Contentment is in relation to the present. Acquisition is always in relation to the future. Able to understand? Contentment is in relation to the present state of mind. Acquisition is always a product of your action, a result of your action, which is future. What is moha, delusion? You start your action with discontentment and hoping contentment is going to be a result of the action. Are you able to follow? Discontentment is the starting point of action, and what you are expecting as a result is contentment. What is the right way of doing it? Let contentment be the starting point of action, and whatever be the result of it, you are still contented. So contentment is the beginning and contentment is the end. And this contentment, which is the beginning and the end, has got nothing to do with what you have or what you don't have. It comes through the spiritual practices, that strengthens the intellect. How does the intellect get strengthened? Only by the spiritual practices, the intellect gets strengthened. What is the definition of contentment? What is the understanding? What understanding, if you have, you will develop contentment? What understanding, if you have, you develop contentment? You are provided already. Any other? சும்மா டைப் பண்ணுங்க, doesn't matter. Whenever I ask a question, I want to take a sip of water. That's why. Yeah, otherwise, non-stop talking, I don't get a break. Already we are blessed. I am Purnam. Gratitude. All Shankaracharya's in this class. If contentment, Anshu is giving a lecture now. What is she saying? If contentment is dependent, I don't know, some lecture she gave. I couldn't understand. Raghu, abundance already. It doesn't matter. Ram Subramanian, what understanding if you have, you develop contentment, a very simple understanding. I get what I deserve. Again, I repeat. Are you able to follow? Contentment is in relation to the present. What understanding will bring that contentment? I get what I deserve. If this is what I got, this is what I deserve. Gratitude follows this understanding. I am thankful to this. Everybody said about gratitude. You follow? Everybody in different way gave the right answer as in gratitude. Gratitude is preceded by something. What is that is preceded by something? I get what I have is what I deserve, and I am grateful to that. This is called contentment. Are you able to follow? But the mind will not agree to the first point. What is the first point the mind will not agree? I get what I deserve, the mind will not agree. Because mind always says, I deserve. What I have, I don't deserve, sir. I deserve much, much more. Life is unfair. You follow what I'm saying? The moment you have that understanding, there cannot be any contentment. There cannot be any contentment. Are you able to follow? So contentment is a very, very beautiful understanding based on the law. What is the law? I get what I have is what I deserve. Number 2, if I don't make faithful use of what I have, carefully follow. If I don't make faithful use of what I have, what will happen? Bondida, isn't it? Again, this is the law of, are you able to follow? If you don't make faithful use of what you have, you will lose it also. It means back to square one. Back to square one. It's like the snake and ladder game. You go 3 levels, you come back. You go 3 levels, you come back. Therefore, Trishna, Vitrishna, this Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta is all about contentment. They all say, be contented, be contented, be contented. And whenever we hear this word contentment, we talk about laziness, inaction, sitting in one corner, not doing anything. Contentment means watching television, isn't it? Our understanding of contentment is what? A fellow will sit and watch television and not do anything. That is not contentment. That is simple laziness. Laziness is not contentment. But laziness looks like contentment. Eppdina, tamas mimics sattvaன்ற மாதிரி அது. The tamoguna looks like sattva guna madri. Laziness will mimic contentment. Actually, it is not that. So what is contentment? What is the definition of contentment? The definition of contentment is this. You understand what you have is what you deserve. Thankful to that. Full stop வைக்கக்கூடாது, கமாதா, isn't it? Full stop வைக்கிற மாதிரி பேசினா கூட mentally keep putting a. Are you able to follow? Contentment means you get what you deserve. This body is what I deserve, I got it. This nose is what I deserve, I got it. This ear is what I deserve, I got it. Oh, why am I having an ugly nose? Why can't I change my nose? Okay, change your nose, change your eyes, change your cheeks, change your hands. But one thing that you should change, you will not change. What? The inner thinking delusion will not change. Vedanta is saying, accept everything and change your delusion. The materialistic life says, do each and everything that will multiply your delusion. Are you able to follow? The moment you understand contentment, what is contentment? I get what I deserve. Therefore, there is a thankfulness to what I have. Are you okay with it till now? And thankfulness doesn't put you off to sleep. Thankfulness will drive dynamic action. Gratitude will drive dynamic action because you are so grateful that you want to. Therefore, what you will do out of this gratitude, you will want to make faithful use of what you have. When you are making faithful use of what you have, you will be blessed with more. So you are starting with contentment, you are blessed with more. You will never say contentment is added. That is Purna. Are you able to follow? You are starting with contentment and you get abundance. You are blessed with more. You will never say, I am more contented. You will say, I am contented. You will never say, I am more contented. Where is the difference? You will never say, I am more happy. Either you are happy or unhappy. I am more happy, sir. You follow? Apuryamanam machala pratishtam, like a samudra. Like a samudra, things coming in doesn't add up to your contentment. Things leaving you doesn't make you discontented. Are you okay till now? Finally, contentment in relation to acquisition we are talking. Enjoyment, we are still talking about acquisition only. We'll come to enjoyment in a few minutes. A person who's willing to pay the price and not take anything will be a contented person. Again, a person who's willing to pay the price and not take anything. When we say not take anything, obviously for free, isn't it? That's why he says, understand the example he always gives, buy 2, get 3 free, isn't it? 2 வாங்கினா 3 free. How is it possible, isn't it? You buy 2, it's a good deal, sir, isn't it? Good deal. Everyone follow? So contentment is a state where you are willing to pay the price. Whatever the price is, I will pay it. Discount is discontentment. Yolo discount kurta, you will be contented. 5% discount will make you feel contented. 10% discount will make you feel what percentage of discount will bring in contentment? There is no such state at all. Therefore, what happens? The human being, irrespective of what they have, what they don't have, is they always remain discontented. Are you able to follow? Dharma Shastra, the sutras, the Dharma Shastra sutras talks about grades of illegitimate earnings. grades of people who live on illegitimately. ஸ்ரீகாந்த், இது வந்து ஸ்டோரி மாதிரி கேட்டுட்டு விட்டுறணும். டோன்ட் டேக் ஆல் திஸ் சீரியஸ்லி. சும்மா இது ஒரு என்டர்டைன்மெண்ட், இதெல்லாம் அவ்வளவுதான். கிளாஸ் இட் செல்ஃப் இஸ் ஒன் என்டர்டைன்மெண்ட் ஒன்லி. இல்லையா? டோன்ட் டேக் ஆல் திஸ் சீரியஸ்லி அண்ட் ட்ரை டு practice எல்லாம். If you take it seriously and practice, consequences are yours. The Dharma Shastra talks about grades of illegitimate acquisition. They are not talking about stealing and all that. That doesn't come under religion. That comes under. Why will a Shastra talk about stealing and burgling and robbing and all that? That category doesn't even exist, because they didn't even come to the human being category. So they are not even discussed. So what do? First level, the highest. Uttama, Madhyama, Adama, Patala. 4 categories, they say. Uttama is best. Madhyama means mediocre. Adama means lower. Patala means the worst. Okay. What is that? Keelendu polam mela. What is that Patala way of illegitimate earning but looks very legitimate? Dharma Shastra says Stri Vittam. The word they use is Stri Vittam. Stri Vittam na modern day terminology illa. அதனால தான் கான்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ல அதை பேன் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. ஸ்திரீ வித்தம்னா லிவிங் ஆன் டவுரி ஃபாதர் இன் லாஸ். பாத்தாள, தட் இஸ் பாத்தாள மீன்ஸ் யூ கோ டவுன். இப்பெல்லாம் மேட்ரிமோனிலே தே ஆஸ்க், வாட் இஸ் யுவர் வாட் டு தே ஆஸ்க் இன் மேட்ரிமோனி? வாட் இஸ் யுவர் வெல்த்? வாட் இஸ் யுவர் நெட்வொர்த்? மேட்ரிமோனி சைட்ல கேட்கறாங்களா, வாட் இஸ் யுவர் நெட்வொர்த்? நெட்வொர்த் போடலன்னா they don't allow you to register only in the first place. சரி, எனக்குலாம் அந்த கவலையே இல்லை. பரம்பராக்கே அந்த கவலை வராது. பரம்பரா only will not have this difficulty at all. What is the net worth? When you are choosing the girl, they want to know the net worth of the girl. பாத்தால it says, தர்மசாஸ்திர இதெல்லாம் பாத்தால. ராம் சுப்ரமணியம் அதனால ஸ்டோரி மாதிரி கேட்டுட்டு விட்டுறணும் இல்லையா? So don't take all this. Living on dowry. Adama, lowest. What is Adama? Living on the earnings of the siblings. Brother, everybody earns, I go and live on their earnings. That is lowest. Madhyama. What is Madhyama? Madhyama means mediocre. What is mediocre? Inheritance la ukandhu saapne irundha, that is Madhyama. Not only they eat, they blow it up also, isn't it? That is Madhyama. What is Uttama? What is Uttama? In the 3 category length, Uttama we should be able to derive by ourselves. What is Uttama? Legitimate self-earning, dharmic self-earning. Are you able to follow? Whatever you get out of your dharmic earnings, that very earning in front of you is contentment. That very earning in front of you is so satisfying, is so joyful, is so fulfilling. It has got nothing to do with the quality of it. It has got nothing to do with whether it is a smaller car or a bigger car. Are you able to follow? From this, we derive a beautiful corollary. What is the corollary equation we derive? Even for wealth, the object in front of you, to give you a peace of mind, there should be a legitimacy to it. There should be a dharma to it. Vedanta comes and says, this kind of acquisition is okay. That's what in the paragraph also he says, the acquisition is not taboo. You remember now? Acquisition is not taboo because as long as it is happening in the Uttama way, it's okay. Adam, Madhyama, Adama, and then Patala, Adalla, dangerous. Patala ke keela ponada discount alla, isn't it? அது பாதாளத்துக்கு கீழே அது இது என்ன சொல்றது? Anshu, you understood what I said? Discount and all is lower than Patala. Patala itself is the lowest. There can't be anything lower than that. But human mind can dig, can go low and low and low. Where it is going to stop, God only knows. What is the opposite of that? All this derivation that we did came from one single statement. What is that one single statement? Let not your present contentment be hooked on to future acquisition. In the ஒரு statement elaborate பண்றோம் அவ்வளவுதான். He only made that statement. What is the statement he made? Let not your present contentment be dependent on future acquisition. Are you okay till now about acquisition? Then we come to the second part, enjoyment. Any contact with contentment is enjoyment. Any contact with the senses, the emotions, with contentment is happiness. Are you able to follow? So the acquisition itself is so contentment. With that contentment, you contact anything. That contented way of contacting is what is called as happiness. If you are contacting anything with discontentment, what happens? Neutralization happens very fast. Are you able to follow? Neutralization happens very fast. You will get bored very fast. Boredom sets in very fast. Neutralization sets in very fast. Why? Because your expectation of happiness is, your expectation from that object or being is so much. And what that object can give? Only whatever it can. Again, I'm not saying it gives you lesser. Carefully follow. I'm not saying objects will give you less. I am saying, the knowledge is saying, each and every object, each and every being has a capability of giving X amount. With contentment, if you contact, you will get it. With discontentment, if you contact, what will happen? You will expect much, much more than the capability of the object or being. So what will happen? You contact with discontentment, the end result is no happiness. So acquisition for what? Acquisition is for happiness, and you end up getting dissatisfied. Are you able to follow now? Acquisition is dissatisfaction. The happiness that you get out of it also is very you feel cheated. You feel cheated. What is feeling cheated means? I thought it can give so much and it gives only this much. That gap, where did it come from? From your discontented way of contacting. Are you able to follow? But sir, if you are contented, why will you contact? Sir, next problem. If you contented, why will you contact? Will a contented person not feel hungry? Yes or no? A contented person will feel hungry, no. So when they contact, what will be the nature of that contact with food? What will be the nature of that contact? Extremely joyous. Each and every meal that person will be able to have with extreme joy. Each and every contact will be with happiness. Opposite of that is what? I contact, I get neutralized, I want to increase the quantum. I contact out of discontentment, I get bored, and I want to increase the quantum. What is increasing the quantum means? If the person is drinking occasionally, then the person wants to drink weekend. And the weekend will go to sometimes weekdays also. From weekdays, it will go to every day. From every day, it will go to wake up in the morning with that only. You wake up in that and drink and no happiness at all, no joy at all. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is the nature of happiness? The nature of happiness that we get is there is no happiness at all. Not only it is not happiness, it ends up in unhappiness, neutralization. Then what is the right way of contacting? What is the technique of deriving happiness from contact? Enjoyment. See, it is contact that gives enjoyment. You can understand this, no? It is contact that gives enjoyment. With what state of mind, if you contact, you will get enjoyment? In what state of mind you contact, you will get enjoyment? Contentment. Contentment is the word. Are you able to follow? With contentment, if you get as you grow in knowledge and understanding, there are these two words for enjoyment. Ananda is the word. That Ananda can come from two. One is called Vishaya Ananda. Another is called Atma Ananda. Are you able to follow? Vishayananda, Atmananda. That's all. To understand happiness, you should know this distinction. Vishaya Ananda and Atma Ananda. Atma means the self, Brahman, God, your true nature. Vishaya means objects and beings. விஷயானாலே அது விஷம்னு சவுண்ட் விழணும். புரியுதா விஜய்? புரியுதாப்பா? விஷயானந்தானாலே காதல் எப்படி விழணும்? அது விஷய, you should hear it as விஷம், then you are all right. If விஷயானந்தா you hear it as அமிர்தம்னா அங்கதான் problem. I will understand the difference, no? That's why the word itself gives that sound, no? The word itself gives that sound. Visham means that which destroys you. Will you want anything that destroys you? No. Out of delusion, you don't understand that it is destroying you. Therefore, he gives these two distinctions, Vishayananda and Atmananda. Vishayananda, Kathopanishad calls it as Priyam. Atmananda, Kathopanishad calls it as Shreyas. Are you able to follow? This Vishayananda, Kathopanishad calls it as Priyam, Shreyas. Atmananda, it calls it as Shreyas. Vishayananda, instant happiness, permanent sorrow. Vishayananda, அவனுடைய நேச்சர் என்ன? Instant happiness, permanent sorrow. Atmananda, no instant happiness, but permanent happiness. Permanent happiness means moksha, liberation. Understand it like. When Atmananda comes, Vishayananda becomes. Another Upanishad gives this example. When Atmananda comes, what happens to Vishayananda? It says Vishayananda will not dissolve. Vishayananda will not disappear. How it will be? How it will be? Upanishad says, just as the moonlight becomes irrelevant in the sunlight. Everyone follow? Beautiful example it gives. The moonlight becomes irrelevant in the sunlight. Atmananda is like the sunlight. That sunlight makes the moon, it doesn't dissolve it, it doesn't disappear. That becomes irrelevant. It becomes irrelevant like moon in a daylight. It becomes irrelevant. That's all. It's there. Sometimes you can see the moon also. No. Sometimes in the broad afternoon day, you can see the moon. But that moon is so irrelevant. This is called Atmananda. What he is saying is this move from Vishayananda to Atmananda. It means Ananda is the same. The attention has shifted. From Vishaya means object. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Bhagavad Gita. He uses the word Vishaya there. Elsewhere in the same Bhagavad Gita, he says, wombs of sorrow. Vishayana is wombs of sorrow. 18th chapter, he says, Visham and Amritam. 18th chapter, he says, Visham and Amritam. Therefore, these two things you understand. What are the two things that you understand? Is it Atmananda or Vishayananda? Vishayananda disintegrates, perishes. Disintegrates, perishes, leaving a negative impression behind. Carefully follow. If it just simply disintegrates and perishes, there's no problem. Vishayananda, what it will do? It will disintegrate and perish, but leaves an impression behind. That impression that is left behind is called Vasana. That impression that is left behind is called Vasana, and this Vasana drives you to seek more. Are you able to follow? The enjoyment is gone. The object also perishes and disintegrates. Internally, if there is no mark, internally, if it doesn't leave any impression behind, we are still all right. Correct? It ends, and that also disintegrates, but no internal impression means you are all right. That is the life of a wise person. Contacts, enjoys, and when it disintegrates and decomposes and leaves, it doesn't leave any impression behind. This is called enjoyment. The negative trait of acquisition and enjoyment, what is that to? The enjoyment leaves an impression behind in the form of vasana. The acquisition itself is driven by a sense of discontentment and all wrong types of acquisition, all wrong methods adopted to acquire beautifully in the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, I think. He says, Those who eat the remnants of sacrifice enjoys Arjuna, he says. Those who eat the remnants of sacrifice. Those who eat the leftovers of sacrifice. Remnants and leftovers. Those who eat the leftovers of sacrifice, they enjoy Arjuna. You follow? This is known as acquisition and enjoyment. It's called negative because of this. So, what is the strength of intellect means now? Now he says, let the strength of it all happens by the growth of the intellect and all that. What is growth of intellect means? Awareness of this, awareness of this. What is awareness? Constantly discriminating between these two. What is the two? Vishaya and Atma. Am I tempted and running behind Vishaya, or am I pursuing Atma? Shankar, can we balance both, sir? அவர் தான் பேலன்சிங் பர்சன் இல்லையா, அவர் தான் பேலன்ஸ் பண்ணுவார் எல்லாமே. Can we balance both, sir? Holistic approach. அதுவும் இருக்கணும் இது. Can we do both? You can't travel in two boats moving in opposite directions at the same time. Now, what will happen? You can't travel in two boats moving in opposite direction at the same time. Ramatirtha beautifully he says, you can't serve two masters at the same time. Either you serve God or you serve Satan. You can't serve two masters at the same time. But the mind always says, should have a balanced approach. இந்த மாதிரி வேதாந்த கிளாஸ்ல மோட்டிவேட் பண்ற மாதிரிலாம் பேசுவாங்க. We should not get carried away by all these talks and all that. We should have a balanced approach. What is a balanced approach? What is a balanced approach? Mentally serve Satan and verbally talk about serving God. புரியுதா? Mentally serve Satan and verbally talk about serving God. And I can do both, no? Isn't it? Ram Subramaniam, don't try all these things. Either you serve God or you serve Satan. You can't serve two masters at the same time. Therefore, Vedanta says, if you keep to the right spiritual path, you will do actions. Your actions will be driven with contentment. Those actions driven with contentment will give you a result. For the law is action will produce a result. Action will produce a result. And that result will be very, you will enjoy the result, you will be contented with the result, you will have the prasada buddhi towards the result, you will contact it, and when it disintegrates and perishes, it will not leave any impression behind. This is known as the art of living, the technique of living. Perform action so that impressions is not left behind. Are you able to follow? How do you do that? This is the knowledge. Ultimately, this is in relation to acquisition and enjoyment. Are you okay till now? Ultimately speaking, everlasting peace and happiness is recognized only when the ego is clean dropped completely. ultimately it is the dropping of the ego. Ego is what? I and my, me and mine. Ego is nothing but ahankara and mamakara. The notion of I and mine. Kara means notion. Ego has a notion. Notion means what? Notion means what? It is claiming, it is assuming. In reality, it is not so. That's why it's called a notion. Correct? That's why it's called a notion. Means you assume it to be so. You are the one who's sitting and assuming it as mine, mine, mine. You are the one who's claiming it as mine, mine, mine. What you are claiming it as mine wants to move away from you, wants to get away from you, wants to run away from you. It means what? It's not yours. You will follow? Again, Kathopanishad. I and mine ponumna, Yama taught this to Nachiketas very beautifully. One of the beautiful Upanishad is this Kathopanishad. What is the touchstone to say this is mine, this is not mine, Nachiketas? Yama asks. There should be a touchstone, no? There should be a factor to determine what is yours and what is not yours. What is the touchstone? What is that yardstick? What is that measurable factor? What is that fact that if you understand that you can say it's mine? What is it? Beautifully he says, Nada, he says, I am that. I am that stone, Nachiketas. I am na yara, Yama. Yama na death. That which accompanies you when you accompany me is yours. What a way he puts it. Huh? What a beautiful. He says, that which accompanies you when you accompany me is yours. That which will not accompany you when you accompany me is never yours. But the mind says, it's mine. You only said, no, sir, half an hour back. Legitimately, I have earned it. Legitimate earning, at least legitimate earning, I can call it as mine. No, you only said half an hour back. Legitimate earning. Adavada, I can call it as mine. No. And all my earning looks legitimate only. Because I belong to the Uttama. I belong to the Uttama category. Commissioner. I belong to the Uttama. She only says, I belong to the Uttama category, sir. Because all my earning comes very legitimately only. Correct. What is the proof that it is legitimate? What is the proof that it is legitimate? Yeah, I can't claim I am a doctor. No. I can't certify myself and say I am the doctor. I can't certify myself and say it is legitimate. Somebody has to certify that. Yama says, don't worry, I will certify. I am the perfect certifying authority. And he never goes wrong. He never goes wrong. Now, two things is very clear. What are the two things that is very clear? You will accompany me is very clear. The question is what? The question is when? All of us going to accompany Yama is very clear. Only distinction is what? When? Gatasuna gatasmuscha nanushocanti panditaha. Bhagavad Gita. This whole world, only two types, he says. Gatasun, agatasun. Gone, waiting to go. One set of people are gone. We are all waiting to go. Okay. Each and every meal that you have is postponing death by 5 hours. Correct? Huh? That's why fasting is very scary. No. God itself will threaten you by saying, another hypoglycemia will come. Yeah, fasting, hypoglycemia will come, headache will come, this will come, that will come. Why? You will die because you are going to die. Correct? Are you able to follow? So you have a meal, you have postponed death by 5 hours. You have a house, you have postponed death by another 10, 15 years, maybe. God only knows. Who knows? You follow what I'm saying? So all human effort of acquisition is to postpone. Yama will be laughing. Why? Time theriyama, how are you postponing? See, postponement, you should know the time, then only postponing has a meaning. You don't even know when I am going to come and take you. So all your efforts of postponing has no meaning. One thing is very clear. What? You accompanying me is very clear. Second, something will accompany you when you accompany me. What will accompany you when you accompany me? What all you call as I and my, me and mine will not accompany you. All that you call as mine will not accompany you. What you don't even recognize that it is existing is what is going to accompany you. What is it that you don't even recognize, that you don't even recognize the existence, its presence? Ignorance. Ignorance. You don't recognize that. That will accompany. So every time you get an embodiment and accompany Yama, you will go with additional baggage of ignorance. Additional baggage of ignorance. Additional baggage of ignorance. Carpenter says, Yama will become powerless. Yama says, I become powerless in front of some. I become powerless in front of some. In front of whom? In front of whom I become powerless? Edward Carpenter, the quote. Remember the quote of Edward Carpenter in the book. Never before could I have believed it, but I see it all now. There is no happiness unless you have clean dropped thinking about yourself. But you must not do it by halves. While even there is the least grain of self left, it will spoil it all. You must just leave it all behind and vouchsafe the personality and mind that much sympathy as to any stranger. No more, no less. This is dropping the I and mine, and this dropping the I and mine is what is going to give happiness. And what is the starting point of dropping I and mine? The starting point of dropping I and mine is through sacrifice. Is through service and sacrifice. Therefore, he says, learn to serve, sacrifice. Learn to serve. Learn to sacrifice. You will be free from the negative trait. Then you will be free from the negative trait. What is freedom from the negative trait? The negative trait of acquisition and enjoyment. Are you okay? With this, we conclude for today. We'll take up scrutinize your person next week. Any clarifications? Venkat, edavadhu irukka?
Yes, Mala has posted a question and Ramas Subramanian has a clarification.
Ram Subramanian choice la vitturuங்க இன்னைக்கு. இல்லையா? அவர் சாய்ஸ்ல விட்டுறலாம். Mala, what should I do if my enjoyment should not leave an impression in my mind while enjoying? What should I do if my enjoyment should not leave an impression in my mind while enjoying? I think this, when corrected, will help. Not to desire for it deep inside and get into trouble. Could you please repeat this briefly? What she is asking is, what should I do if my enjoyment should not leave an impression in my mind while enjoying? Two practices will help. The first practice is getting into the contact with contentment after the enjoyment is over, not to mentally relive it. The mental lingering. Have you ever understood most of our experiences are only mental reliving? We want to relive that mentally, and the mental reliving is what is the starting point of the impression. Are you able to follow what I am saying as mental reliving? The thought of buying the car and what all enjoyment you are going to get out of it is more than actually buying the car, correct? Are you able to follow? Always, if you see, the thought of you going to buy it is more joyful than the actual having it. That is called mental lingering. Before I acquire, I dream about the happiness that it is going to give. Carefully follow. Before I acquire, I hallucinate about the happiness that it is going to give. After the contact is over, I relive it. So what am I actually doing? First, I am hallucinating. Second, I am reliving the hallucination. First, I hallucinate and then I continuously relive the hallucination. This is what leaves an impression behind. While enjoying, what you should do? Mala. While enjoying, it is prasad buddhi. You should enjoy it fully, thoroughly. It's prasad. Are you able to follow? It's prasad. Since it is prasad, you enjoy it thoroughly, you enjoy it fully. Where comes the problem is, before that, don't hallucinate, don't dream about the happiness that you are going to get out of it. After the contact, don't relive. Are you able to follow? Most of the times what happens, more than the contact born enjoyment, it's all cerebral enjoyment. We don't have contact born enjoyment also. Bhagavad Gita, he says contact born enjoyments. Niki Krishna Gita, what he has to write? Contact born enjoyment, let's stop the cerebral. Are you able to follow? Mala. Therefore, before I enjoy, I don't hallucinate about it. After the enjoyment is over, I will not relive it mentally. While enjoying, what I should do? While enjoying, while contacting, I should be in the contact fully. Therefore, while you are contacting, don't do anything. Clip that which is before the contact clip that which happens after the contact. While contacting, simply contact, because the contact is not going to give any problem. It is pre and post. It is the pre-contact and post-contact that leaves an impression behind. What you do in pre-contact and what you do post-contact. Could you please repeat this briefly, she said. Idam brief repetition. For ma? Mala. Okay. Ram Subramaniam.
Yes, sir. So, sir, this may be for Sunday morning because it is related to Gita, but
Okay.
still I'm trying to the point you mentioned earlier today, right? Why should the Shastra talk about stealing and other inappropriate ways of acquiring wealth, right? So, in the context of this Uttama, Madhyama, and Padala, and the different categories we spoke about, right?
Yes.
So, I just want to bring up this verse from Gita, sir, chapter 10, right? There is this verse which translates to something like among the fraudulent activities, I am gambling.
Yes.
So, and lottery, as all of us know, it is banned in some of the states, and we know what gambling is and how that wealth is acquired, right? So, why
Right.
does Gita or Shastra have to talk about fraudulent activity and Krishna being gambling? And it can be very confusing to somebody who's trying to understand the Gita and practice it, right? So, can you please help understand this part, sir?
Just wait few more verses, we are going to get there. We have a lot to discuss. Why Gita says, amongst that I am
Gambling.
Amongst the fraudulent, I am gambling. Beautiful. There are 3-4 things that he says in that entire 76 thing that is so beautiful. Of that one, it is gambling. Since we are currently reading the 10th chapter, wait for a couple of weeks. When we get there, we will discuss that, and then I will connect it with what we did today.
Sure. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ram Subramanian, I need time for homework. Escape. Are you okay, Ram Subramanian? Anshu, what is her problem now? In the last class, you mentioned that all the joy is a result of self-forgetting. Please help me understand in context of simple pleasures, like eating mangoes. Is she here? Oh, yeah, you are here, Anshu. Yeah, okay. In the last class, you mentioned that all the joy is a result of self-forgetting. Please help me understand in context of simple pleasures like eating mangoes. One is eating. Another is eating to overcome stress. The first thing they talk about, the depressed people who are disturbed, is they all tend to eat a lot. Overeating. Anga, there is no pleasure. Are you able to follow? So, all pleasures are simple only. There is no simple pleasure and complicated pleasure. What is the opposite of simple? Ganesh. What is the opposite of simple? Complicated. Yeah. There is no such thing as a complicated pleasure and simple pleasure. Pleasure is simple. Pleasure is pleasure. Mango. I am so stressed that I want to eat a mango. Another is the mango season. There is the mango. I offer it and then I eat. Are you able to follow? Any pleasure that comes after offering is not self-forgetting. Any pleasure that you do not offer, but you do, that is called self-forgetting. Remember, the critical factor here is what? The crucial factor is offering. That's why in this culture, we offer everything before we. All sense contacts are offered first. You know that, no? Everything is offered and seen as an act of, seen as a prasad from the divine. Eating, sleeping, act of procreation, all acts are simple pleasures only. When does it become that? When it is offered first. Are you able to follow? When it is offered, in that very offering, the awareness has come in. Self-forgetting means you have forgotten to offer. Why? Because you are so lost in some worry or anxiety, you have forgotten to offer. That is called self-forgetting. Are you able to follow? All pleasures can be out of self-forgetting, or all pleasures can come as a result of offering. So it can be a thing like mango or anything. Remember to offer. That's why even when they serve food, they say, as soon as it's served in the plate, you should not start eating. They say, no. First, they will serve everything, and you have to wait. You are hungry and starving, but you have to wait. You have to wait, and everything is served, and then you start the prayer. By the time the prayer is finished, your hunger is gone almost, isn't it? Why will you even do it like this? Are you able to follow? So, self-forgetting means you have forgotten to offer. Why did you forget to offer? Because you are so caught up in some worry and anxiety, some preoccupation. Understand it like that. Some preoccupation made you to forget. That very act of forgetting to offer and contacting is troublesome, which is what I said last week. Are you able to understand the difference now? You are so stressed and you want a solution from the stress. What is the solution from the stress? Everybody will have various. See, when you want to say self-forget, what do you want to forget? You want to forget your worry and anxiety. You want to forget your stress, correct? Self-remembrance means remembrance of stress. Self-forgetting means temporarily forget your stress. Are you okay till now? Anshu. The moment you offer something, what goes out? The stress goes out. The moment you start offering, stress goes out. When stress goes out, it becomes a, whether eating mango or anything, becomes a, it's not a self-forgetting act. It becomes an act of prayer. It becomes an act of devotion. It is prasada buddhi. Are you able to follow? I can have mango as the prasada buddhi, or I can have mango as indulgence. So the difference is indulgence versus prasada buddhi. Are you able to follow now? Indulgence versus prasada. Indulgence is because of I want to temporarily get out of my stress. And the way to temporarily get out of my stress is indulge in something. Indulge in watching a movie, indulge in watching a news channel, indulge in watching. What do they call? Season 1, season 2, isn't it? Serial no solo. For serial no solo. Few years back, they had another word for all that. Something they said. season 1, season 2, they are saying. Huh? Soap. Yeah, soap. Soap, I know only one soap, isn't it? There's only one soap on this planet. What is that soap? For bathing, you use all of that. Soap. No, I don't know what all words. Season 1, season 2, isn't it? What is the joy in that? See, all are same superficial emotion there. See, all season 1, season 2, season 3 in any language, doesn't matter. Korean arundha kuda adha. Same superficial emotion, same superficial thing. Somebody, various actors in various language pretending, acting, what? The same thing. What is the enjoyment in that? What is the whole world addicted to that? Isn't it? What is so addictive in that? What is so enjoyment in that? Take it away. The hands and legs are shivering and trembling and shaking. I remember long back, I got this thing about this addiction at that time only. In those days, I'm talking about mid-80s and all that, well, Doordarshan is the only channel. Doordarshan is the only channel here. And if some political leader dies, what will happen? If some leader dies, what will they do in the channel? One music. It will go for 3 days. Have seen, some Soha Geetams. The whole thing is so melancholy, isn't it? Seen people, second day, third day, trembling. Why? Because news channel illa, serial illa. What is that? What is that film song thing called? Chitrahar. Chitrahar illa. Oliyum oliyum. இல்லையா தமிழ்ல ஒளியும் ஒளியும். அதை சொல்றதே கஷ்டம், isn't it? அது சொல்லவே வராது நிறைய பேருக்கு, isn't it? ஒளியும் ஒளியும் சார். அது என்ன shivering. I used to think, so what if it is not there for 3 days? That is called self-forgetting. Are you able to understand now? Addictions is self-forgetting. Or you get into an addiction itself because you want to forget. What you want to forget? You want to forget your stress, the worry, the anxiety. Are you okay? Therefore, all contacts, all enjoyments happens after offering is pleasurable, enjoyable, because it is prasad. Any contact or all contacts which arises out of an addiction, which arises out of wanting to forget yourself for a while, is detrimental, dangerous. Did I help you for simple pleasure now? Eating mangoes? Which mango you want? ஒரே மெக்சிகன் மேங்கோ, அது புளிக்கிறது மேங்கோ மாதிரியே இல்லை, isn't it? I'm sure for that Mexican mango you are asking about this eating. You are asking for Imam Pasand, it's okay, no? At least Alfonso, it's okay. Namur Lena Ram Subramaniam Banganapulli. Sir, Banganapulli, one fellow told me that Banganapulli, Andhra, sir, Tamil na Malgova, sir. Sir, Idulo kuda enna Tamil Telugula, I said. Adulu Malgova, what are Bangavar? Malgova, Neelam. For Mexican mango, okay, simple pleasure. That's a simple punishment. Anshu, are you okay? Yes. Yes. One more and we'll conclude.
So, contacting or action per se is not the problem. So, what drives the action and what is the result that comes out to fix the problem?
Yes. Yes. The action, the actual act of contact is never a problem. Because we can never live life without contacting. To tell somebody live life without contacting is telling the person rest in the graveyard. Are you able to follow? Ganesh. It is don't contact anything is telling the person be in graveyard. Are you able to follow? Therefore, life means act of contact. That cannot be avoided, and that is not a problem. That is not a problem because life means I have to keep contact. See, what I contact will vary from person to person. Yeah. Ingirund, I will say Imam Pasand Malgova. Anga Mexican da. What difference for the Mexican fellow that is correct, for this fellow this is correct. So here, but anywhere in the world, act of contact will happen. Birth to death, act of contact will happen. That cannot be avoided. Correct? Therefore, the problem is never with contact. The problem is what drives the contact. What I am hallucinating that I am going to get out of the contact. Again, I repeat. What hallucination is driving the contact? What I hallucinate that I am going to get out of it, and not getting it, I increase the frequency of the contact to fulfill my hallucination. Able to follow? Angada, it becomes a problem. I hallucinate something, I don't get it, and the only way to get it is increase the frequency. இவ்வளோ பண்றதுனால தானே நிறைய பண்ணா நிறைய கிடைக்கும். Isn't it? Are you able to follow? Therefore, in Vedanta, Yogaratova, Bhogaratova, Sangaratova, Sangha Vihinaha. It means the contact will happen. You cannot avoid. What you contact will be according to your preferences. But nevertheless, life itself means continuous contact. You cannot avoid contact because contact is never a problem. What I hallucinate and get into the contact, and I don't, and my hallucinations will not be fulfilled. Therefore, what will I do? I will believe that if I get more, I'll get. Are you okay? That's how it works. Seriya? Are you okay? With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue with a beautiful topic. Scrutinize your person next week.